If you're a small business owner, you'll know just what it's like to be the chief everything officer. HR, payroll, employee benefits. Well, Gusto can do all of that for you. Gusto is online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. It's all in one, remote friendly, and incredibly easy to use. It's quick and simple to switch to Gusto. Just transfer your existing data to get up and running fast. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonsoccer and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's gusto.com/lockedonsoccer.
The world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Hey, it's Bill from the Bill Simmons podcast. FIFA World Cup 26 fans, listen up. As the official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26, Michelob Ultra is giving away $1 million worth of FIFA World Cup 26 tickets and prizes. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26. Michelob Ultra FIFA World Cup 26 superior access, no purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus, begins on December 1st, 2025, ends on July 31st, 2026, multiple entry periods. Visit www.MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26 for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
Hello everyone and welcome to How Are the Podcast. It's Gav and we are here for an emergency pod because a big bit of news has came out this evening regarding Granit Xhaka, who, according to reputable journalist Fabrizio Romano, is trying to force himself a move to Chelsea. And that has obviously rocked all of us and really hit us from the side, and we weren't expecting it. So we thought we'd jump on a pod to chat a little bit about it and try and get our heads around the news. Joining me is Ant. Hello, mate.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I mean, I'm not great considering I've just caught this bit of news, really, but mate, it's a weird one, isn't it? I don't know how to feel about this because obviously I love Granit Xhaka. He's the reason we had such a strong season. When he wasn't in the team, we struggled. He's really been the leader of the football club on the pitch. He's dragged Sunderland into the modern era effectively. That was a really big signing where we set out our intent for what we were going to do last season. So here, Fabrizio, or at least read Fabrizio Romano saying that the midfielder wants to rejoin Xabi Alonso and has expressed desire to return to London, and basically says he would accept any contract condition just to join Chelsea and reunite with them and go back to London. It's a bit, there's no loyalty in football, basically, is there? Let's be honest.
Wait, no, there isn't. And when you look at someone like Granit Xhaka, when you remember 5 weeks ago, he's on the pitch at the Stadium Lights saying this is only the beginning, and he loves the club and this, that, and you're there. Listen, when Xabi Alonso got the Chelsea job, I said to a couple of people that I wouldn't be shocked if this was the case, where he would go for Xhaka just because of what happened at Leverkusen. Obviously they went the season unbeaten, and he was his stalwart, he was his captain there. So I thought, maybe a year or two down the line from there, a 33-year-old lad who did have an excellent season for us, don't get us wrong. I thought maybe he would go other way, but if he wants Granit Xhaka, he'll get Granit Xhaka because of how they went back for Leverkusen. But yes, it is a surprise because obviously I was like, I was just sat watching a little bit of the cricket, a little bit of the T20, watching Ireland win the first ever game in their women's T20, and then this appears. I'm like, oh crap. But I've got mixed. I'm sure we'll get into it. I've got mixed feelings about it. I'm gutted that if it is true and he does go, I would be a mixture of gutted that it's happened, a little bit kind of disappointed in Xhaka because of, again, what he said 5 weeks ago, just as you said before, shows the loyalty. Well, you've got to look at this on a club perspective. If a bid comes in And I know he's our captain, and I know he's class, and you know, we did struggle without him. He's 34 in September, and you can't
Something like
turn
that, I think,
30
yeah.
million quid down for a 34-year-old. You can't do it, especially if he wants to go. And, you know, who's to say, and I know, like, it's if, buts, and whats, but who's to say that in a European season, he's at the World Cup now, he's going to be guaranteed at least one more game in the World Cup. Who's to say that you know, his injuries don't catch up with him next season? You know, playing in the Europa League,
Yeah.
it is very mixed feelings, Gav. To be fair,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess there are probably two ways to look at this. The first one is, oh my God, devastated, like distraught. How the hell are we going to rebound from this? Which plenty of people are reacting that way. And I guess the other way of looking at it is kind of touching on what you just said there, turning a pretty healthy profit on an old player, you know, old in football terms. He says he's going to be 34 soon. So he's younger than me. But, you know, old in football terms player kind of, look, how many more years would you get out of Granit Xhaka? One, possibly, before he starts winding down. So, you know, there's that way of looking at it. And I think ultimately the club make very straightforward decisions now. So if they agree to this, then it'll be done with Sunderland's best interests at heart, and that'll mean that we do get a good fee for him, and we are well looked after in that regard, because he's our captain. You know, he's been our most important player this season, arguably. So, you know, we've got to just trust the club's judgment. And look, there's a part, like you said before, on the pitch when he said all of those things, I've never felt so proud of my team.
Mhm.
And you know, if the reality is that he wants to leave, then the kind of me emotion goes out the window. Then I'm not bothered about him. If Granit Xhaka wants to leave Sunderland, let him crack on. The club's
Mhm.
going to be here for a long time, and after Granit Xhaka, it was here a long time before him. And I'm certainly not doing down his impact because he's been amazing. But my point is that if he wants to leave, and if any other player wants to leave Sunderland, and they think they're better than us, or they think that, you know, it would be better for them if they crack on elsewhere, then they can go. I'm not bothered. We'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine, regardless of who it is. So yeah, it is tough because I really do like him, but I've got to admit, when I read that, and look, we've got to say as well, by the way, these are journalists reporting this. Nothing's in concrete. You know, this may well not happen, and I hope it doesn't. You know, I would love Granit Xhaka to stay with Sunderland, but if it's true, then it is what it is. You know, you've just got to try and get over it really quickly. I already kind of feel over it. My mates are laughing at us for saying that, because I said it in our group chat just before we came on. They're like, "What?" Like, they're absolutely wounded. But like you know, I'm kind of over it. If this is the case, you know, we'll be fine.
We will be, and you've hit the nail on the head there. Like any player that does leave this football club now, you give them the best wishes and everything like that. But if they think that, you know, they're leaving this behind because we're like the finished article or whatever like that, you know, as he said, it is just the beginning, you know, and if this future is without Granit Xhaka, then for me, so be it, you know, like if it takes a season to take it on the chin and all that and finish whatever, I'm still confident without a Granit Xhaka that we'd still finish above 3 teams, 4, even 4 or 5 teams in this league. So I'm not worried about relegation, and we still got a European push to look at to enjoy. And you know this, Gav. We know this about our scouting network and about our director of football and everyone behind the scenes. They'll have a Granit Xhaka replacement in their heads already. They'll have
Yeah,
had
yeah.
one last season because of his age. And as you said, maybe it's a season too early where they should have thought, right, we've got to maybe fast forward it a little bit. But you kind of tell me that they're already thinking that at the end of like the season coming to 26, 27, they'd be thinking there straight away that Granit Xhaka at 35, they'd want to play 40 games a season, because that would not happen. And I think with you, I'm the same of, I'm gutted, but it sounds a lot from the, you know, the respectable journalist that's put it on, obviously Fabrizio Romano's put it on there, that he has said that he will go. Then what's the club going to do? The club aren't going to go, "No, you're staying," you know what I mean? Because then they've got an unhappy player. They've turned down 30 million quid. As I said, we'll never get a better bid for him. You know, but we won't. It's just, it's football. And you know, like, again, if he wants to try to Chelsea, then fair play, you know, crack on. His legacy will be probably ruined here. I don't think he would get a brilliant ovation when he come back with Chelsea. I think he'd probably get maybe one or two boos, but it is what it is. But I trust, and we always said is we trust whoever we've got now with Florian Gescholf, you know, I would trust that they've got someone in mind. Like I said, there'll be someone even at the World Cup or whatever that they're going to be thinking about signing now. And yes, you're losing the leadership and you're losing all that stuff, but we have got some leaders in that team now. You know, you look at a Nordy Mukiele who led us very, very well without having the armband on, but led us very well through some games last year. Brian Brobbies who just pulls us into games and stuff like that. So we have got leadership. We have got leadership qualities. We'd need to sign someone, don't get us wrong, but if this had been a Brian Brobby thing, I'd have been more gutted than what I am now. You know what I mean? And or Siddiqui, because the ceiling with them players, I think, are a lot higher. And Granit Xhaka's reached that ceiling. You know, Granit Xhaka's not going to get any better as a footballer. He's a brilliant player, but he's not going to get any better. When you got like players like that, Robin Rofes as well, who's got, you know, like I say, the ceiling's skyless. You know what I mean? So I'd be more devastated about that than I would with me captain. And it sounds weird saying that, but I would be.
Yeah, well, we are actually recording as things develop, and there's been a further development as we've been sat chatting. Keith Downey has tweeted, Chelsea are weighing up a move for Sunderland captain Granit Xhaka this summer, according to Sky Caviar. I think that's Caviar Sol, is it? I think. I can't remember his name anyways.
I know who that is.
The reporter from Sky Sports News anyways. But Sunderland consider him not for sale. There is no club-to-club contact yet, but Xabi Alonso was a big fan following their success together at Leverkusen, and Chelsea have big interest in the 34-year-old. He's not 34 yet, by the way, but he is nearly 34-year-old this summer. Understand that Sunderland do not welcome any offers for their main man. Sunderland are not under pressure to sell financially. So that's us setting our stall out and feeding the story back to Downey that he might want to go, but, you know, we don't want to sell him. So, look, this can play out in a number of ways. And as I say, this could, you know, end up a case where he's not leaving Sunderland, but the club have got to look after themselves. The club is more important than Granit Xhaka, right? So if we believe that £30 million isn't enough to warrant selling him, you know, because we feel we couldn't replace his value to us for £30 million and we won't sell him. You know, this could just be the club holding firm to see how much they really do want him. Because, you know, if we were to sell him, it would probably have to be for an amount of money which is way above Chelsea's valuation, I guess. You know, if they really want him, someone say, well, you can have him, but you're paying 50 million for him or whatever. I know that's not what Keith said, but let's just say theoretically. Then we would be well within our rights to do so. So it's interesting. The bit which I'm struggling to get my head around a bit is in Romano's tweet where it said that he's basically desperate to get back to London. You know, the way these things work, people feed things out to media and to give their side of things, to apply pressure. I would suspect that given this story emerged in Germany, that, and I don't know who represents Granit Xhaka, but you would imagine it's come from his side, or from Chelsea's side, like feeding that story out to put a bit of pressure on to cause a stir. These things happen. But, you know, as it stands anyways, his future is up in the air, whether he stays or go. You know, his future's up in the air and we don't know which way things are going to go at this point, but it's something we have to discuss because I didn't see this coming at all, to be fair. I didn't and I should have. I know you said that you kind of had a feeling when Alonso took that job, but I just think about what he said at the end of the season. When he said, I'll actually read it verbatim. This is a quote from Granit Xhaka. For me, the most important thing is that my family is happy and we are in Sunderland. I'm not even thinking about a transfer. I'm really happy to finally have a summer without any speculation about my future. That's rarely been the case in recent years. This allows me to fully focus on the World Cup. Just something's not adding up, is it?
Imagine buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included, or buying furniture but missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine the exact same feeling, but you're paying way more. That is what buying business software usually feels like. Fragmented, disconnected, and incredibly expensive. Odoo completely changes that. Odoo is a complete fully integrated business suite where all your apps actually talk to each other. We're talking automated lead routing for your sales team, seamless AI integration, and intuitive point-and-click website builder. It's everything your business needs to scale, saving you time, headaches, and money. Stop piecing your software together. Go to odoo.com. That's ODOO.com to learn more.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man, an 8-episode series, now streaming on Disney+.
A superhero remake, not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
Action! Simon Williams, audition for Wonder Man.
I'm gonna need you to sign this, assuming you don't have superpowers.
I'll never work again if anyone found out.
My lips are sealed.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man. All 8 episodes now streaming, only on Disney+.
No, it's not. If he's come out and said that, well, when was that? Was that when he said it on the pitch, or was that like just after that? So
I'm not entirely sure when he said it, but it's
So like
it's
a
after the
month,
end of the
6
season.
weeks, a month, 5 weeks, or whatever. If he's saying that, and then we're talking what the 27th of June, and it's gone completely different, and he's wanting to move no matter what, then what's being said. But we don't know what's being said behind the scenes. Obviously, like you say, mate, Alonso obviously thinks of him very highly. And if he's like got in his ear and was just like, selling the dream and all that stuff, like pretty much like what we did. But surely you would think that Chelsea next season are going to be, it's still going to be a big build to try and get them back to where they should be. And maybe they're looking at he's the leader to try and get that for the next, 1 or 2 years, try and get them back to the Champions League. But the bother is with Chelsea, they're just so unstable. Whereas here, we're a stable club.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Is that they're so unstable because they don't have a Granit Xhaka. They don't have a player like Granit Xhaka who can, lead the dressing room.
Mm.
You think about Chelsea and Sunderland, they obviously have done it on a larger scale than us because of the amount of money they've spent, but very similar sort of build of squad, I would say, kind of very, very young team, players who are just sort of a year or two away from being what you would consider top players or top level players. That's kind of Chelsea, isn't it? And Sunderland aren't too far off. So, that's why he was brought to Sunderland, was to enforce some discipline and bring some standards to the football club, have a lot of young players around him, kind of bouncing off him and learning every single day in the training. Like, you can totally see why Chelsea and any other club would have him. I mean, he gets talked about constantly. Always on the TV, people talking about Granit Xhaka and his influence. So, and it's kind of like the Brobby thing, where Brobby's getting talked up quite a lot. It would be naive, wouldn't it, to think people wouldn't want him and wouldn't be looking at him and trying to explore, is there a way we can get him at our club? Because if I wasn't a Sunderland fan, I'd be envious too. I would be genuinely envious. Like, bloody hell, Granit Xhaka plays for them. I'd love him to play for us. So, I can see it. I can see why Chelsea are in for him. I can see why Chelsea want to bring him to the club. And on the other side, even though he said all those things about his family being happy, look, he lived a long time in London. His family was settled there. It's a manager he's very familiar with, somebody he won trophies with. They've shared success together, so they've obviously got a cracking relationship. So, I understand it. Even if I don't like it, I kind of understand it from every angle. So, hopefully what Keith says there about Sunderland not wanting rid of him means that we do everything we can to keep him here. And that, like I said before we even read Keith's tweet, I hope that's the case. But if he doesn't want to be here, then let him crack on, but make sure we look after ourselves first and foremost. That is the chief thing here. We if Chelsea are saying, we want your captain and we're going to give you 30 million, Sunderland have to say, well, we don't want to lose him, so whatever you're offering has to be extraordinary to even consider that we would do such a thing.
I think so, yeah. I think we've got to be. I think we've got to be like kind of realistic about it. I'm not sure that it will. Yeah, we're not going to get 100 million for him. You know what I mean? Like along those lines. But if they said, well, we value him at this 30 million's not good enough, but we value him at whatever, and Chelsea are willing to pay it, then you're going to have to go and work fair enough. But it is good to say, like coming from that tweet that you've just read out from Keith Downey, that we're not going to be like held ransom, and we're not going to be like a club who just goes, you know what, yeah, we've had a good season, but we're blah blah blah. I like that. I do like that. I like that stance, and I think that the fact that we are not under any pressure to sell players is really, really good as well. That the fact that even though, we're going to have to at some point, with with PSR and stuff like that, it's not this season. It puts us so probably in a no-lose situation about it, isn't it? Even though we're going to lose, if we do sell them, we're going to lose a footballer, but they're going to think, well, we've got got a good wage off the wage bill, we've got a hell of a wage in a transfer fee, and there's going to be 2-3 players that probably already shortlisted to bring them in, even if it's not in a leadership department, but a good footballer, like similar to what Granit Xhaka can do. So, as long as they're holding themselves like that, that's excellent. And you were right before, when you're watching some of the players in the World Cup now, because we've had a successful World Cup with our lads, haven't we? We've had Brian Brobby scoring 3 goals. Wilson Isidore scoring an absolute screamer. Nelson Angulo the other day as well. Scoring a really good
Diarra screamer as well, don't forget that one.
No. Well, I was leaving that to last because that was the best goal of that, wasn't it? But we're having players who are performing very, very well. So they're obviously going to be, there's going to be scouts going out, like scouts who didn't know who they were playing for Sunderland or whatever, going to be like, hang on a minute, with my test of water and stuff. But it just goes to show, Gavin, I've seen this a lot of times now, how far we've came in a very, very small time. And, you've just got to maybe at some point just take back and take stock and just go, well, you've got to be quite honoured that this is actually happening, even though it is sad to see players go.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of legs in this, and that we'll probably have to jump back on and talk about it again at some point. But I think ultimately, and my point is here that, I love Granit Xhaka. I love everything he's done for Sunderland. But if he wants to leave and the club get an acceptable offer, we can't just, cling on to him because we love him. We need players who want to be here. It's just something's not tallying for me. Like
I agree with you, actually.
Something not tallying.
There is something a little bit like, especially with what Keith Downey's come out and said there, and then you're looking at like kind of when you read out before, I'm settled and my family's settled and all that, but so it doesn't make much sense. And I am glad when they've said we're not going to sell them under any price. It's quite similar to the Bruno Guimaraes thing at Arsenal, that Newcastle are saying we're not going to sell them at any price, but they'll have a price in their heads, won't they? Because the player will want European football, Champions League football or whatever, but if they say, well, our price is 120 million, but if you don't give us that, he's not going, which is fair play. And if we say, I think we probably look at, say, 50 million and we go, all right, you give us that. It probably is an overvaluation of Granit Xhaka, but that's what we won't part from anything else like that. And it's fair play. The club hold all the cards here, so despite what happens, I'm with you. I want him to stay. I think he's got unfinished business here. I think he's got, a good season or two left in him as captain and everything like that. And I'd like to see him at some point the manager of this football club, I think that's maybe what was offered to him. But if he wants to go and he wants to join his mate at Chelsea and earn double his money or whatever that is, and wants to move down to London, can't stand in his way.
Just got to make sure we, as I keep reiterating, we've got to make sure that we are, well looked after if he does go. My gut feeling is that it's going to happen eventually, because there's no smoke without fire. But it'll probably be a case where Chelsea pay us an absolute fortune. And hey, by the way, the club would have every right to demand that, because have you seen some of the shit they've spent fortunes on in the last few years, Chelsea?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I seen something the other day. The kid might be a good player, but some right back I've never heard of, young player, 55 million euros to Chelsea. And I was just reading that thing, and you see those stories now, and you're just like, oh yeah, you don't. It doesn't make your eyes pop out your head because you're just used to Chelsea spending ridiculous amounts of money on relatively unknown players. So even though he is 33 and coming up 34, we'd have every bloody right to say, cough up. Like, didn't care really. Like, if you want him, you're going to have to pay us a stupid amount of money to take him off us for us to even consider it. And that's my vibe here. One other thing before we do go, I guess, and I think this is important, really important actually, is that this has to be sorted out sooner rather than later. We can't afford a Alexander Isak to Liverpool situation like the Mags went through, where it went on all summer and it completely scuppered their plans really by the time he did leave, because it doesn't benefit us at all for that to be the case. So we don't want to be going to the end of August and there's still being a chance that he could leave. Like, if Granit Xhaka is going to go and the club are saying he's not for sale, that either has to be the end of it, or Chelsea have to come back with a massive offer first time, what would make the club think about it, and then we would have to work from there. Because, like, if he's going to go, he needs to go ASAP for me. But only if it works for us.
I think it's the same with the Forest Elliot Anderson saga. What's going on there? The stuff with City and all that. Everything can be done over at the World Cup over in America. You can have his medical, personal terms, which apparently are already agreed. Which it's never really sat well with me that apparently you can agree personal terms with a player before you even put a bid in. I really don't understand that. But I agree with you. As long as it's done, within the next 2 weeks or whatever, if it is going to happen, I would give it a deadline till probably July, until they come back from pre-season, and then we can look at bring these players in, and it's not left like what you've said, like what's happened with Isak at Newcastle. Because look what happened to their season last year. It just ruined it, didn't it?
Indeed. Right, mate. Well, we will crack on, and we'll leave this one here for today. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
No worries. I mean, I wish we were talking about better things, but it's been a lovely, Gav. It's been lovely.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said before, listeners, we will probably have to circle back around to this a number of times, I'm sure, because it's a huge story. I'm sure things are going to change constantly. Even by the time you listen to this, things might have changed, but as we are sat here right now, reacting to this news, the crack is effectively that there is a possibility Granit Xhaka could leave the football club, and that's what we've been reacting to. So hopefully you found it interesting nonetheless, and I'm praying that I'm cheered up a little bit by tonight, and England do us a favour and have a good end to the group stages and give us something to cheer about. But I'm not holding my breath on that after watching the other day, so we'll see, mate. But yeah, thanks very much.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully we're talking about good things with England. I think they're not going to win the tournament. I'll say that now.
Cheers for cheering us up a bit more, mate.
Sorry. But I've seen better teams. I must admit that.
Yeah. Well, okay. We will see you later, guys. Before I do drop, I guess I should probably give a little shout out to some of the stuff that's already on the feeds. If you haven't listened already to the news roundup, which went out this morning. I guess it's a little out of date because there wasn't a Granit Xhaka segment in there, but they did. Ant and Bomber joined Chris for a chat about some various Sunderland stories, so make sure you catch up with that. This is the first part of our summer quiz on the feed, so make sure you listen to that. That was a good laugh listening back to that, and part 2 I think is out tomorrow. We've got a piece that me and Andrew did on the away kit as well, which you can listen to if you want to hear us react to Sunderland's away kit being released and just chatting about what it looks like and all that. And there's also a pod on the feed from earlier in the week where me, James Nichols, Andrew, and Ian Bendelow met up in Sheepfolds after we'd had a meeting with the club to just chat about some bits and pieces there as well. So loads and loads and loads of stuff on the feeds. If you haven't already listened to it, head to rotoreport.sbnation.com for your daily fan-written content. I'm sure there'll be stuff about Granit Xhaka on there this week. And also follow us at Rotor Report on your favourite social media feeds. I'll just leave it safe. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health Premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.